Hello and welcome to a cornucopia of tales and tellers. I'm Simona, and this time I'm here only to introduce what you're going to listen to. Because every time we've got guests on the podcast, we ask them to tell us a story. And in the last episode, you didn't listen to Geraldine and Rasheedat telling a story because we decided to separate the interview from the stories. So now I'll leave you to them, to their two fantastic stories. Enjoy.
I would like to tell this story, and this story, I don't remember where I had it from, but it is a story about a rich man. So this man was very rich and had a very, very large compound. In his compound, he had many, many trees and a very big farm. So he had many employees. There were those ones who were working in the shamba, were very many, because he planted many, many crops, food crops. In his house, he had many workers who worked for him. Others were in the kitchen, others in the sitting room, others in the compound, washing clothes. He was a rich man. But now, because weather kept on changing, he decided to employ workers to be in the trees in his compound. In his compound, he decided to employ a worker who would sweep the compound. And when he was employing him, he told him specifically that his work was to sweep the compound. And the young man agreed. He would use hard brooms to sweep the compound. So during rainy season, the compound was not very, very dirty because it was wet and there was grass. He used to cut grass and take it to the shamba to be used as manure. But sometimes the weather changed. It would be very dry and windy, and leaves would drop in the compound. And this man kept sweeping the compound during that time, around December, November, December, January. When it approached February towards March, it was windy and all dry leaves fell on the ground. So this man swept the compound very many times. When he sweeps, reaches on the other side, wind would come and blow all the leaves to the ground. And he was getting annoyed because once he reached the other side, on looking behind, he finds that the compound is already dirty. And he complained to his fellow workers and said, I think I'm getting tired sweeping this compound all the time. Look at now what is happening. The leaves are all over and I've just swept 5 minutes ago. And the workers would tell him, but you were employed for that. Why are you complaining? And he said, no, my back is paining. Then he was told, why don't you go and tell the boss that you don't want that job? So he thought about it. And the following day, he went and told his employer that the compound was making him very tired. So the man asked him, what do you think you want to do? So the man suggested that let us cut the tree, especially this big one that is making the whole compound dirty. And he was told, you just go and think about it. So the man went, and on coming back the following day, all the leaves were blown to the ground, and he swept, complaining, these leaves are too many. I think it is the best time now to cut this tree. So he took an axe and told the boss, now I'm going to cut this tree. Then the boss told him, okay, you cut it down. And the tree was cut down, chopped to wood to be used as firewood. So the following day, the man came and he was told, now you cut the tree down and there is no job now because there are no leaves to sweep. So the man said, no, I did not mean to destroy the compound. Then the man said, you have nothing to do. You are employed to sweep the leaves. That's all. So the man sacked himself. He did not have any job to do. So this story tells us that we should learn to appreciate good things and bad things. Everything has a good side of it. We should appreciate it. And the same thing has got the bad side of it. But we should learn to accommodate or to tolerate each situation. Thank you.
The title of my story is Why the Bat is Afraid to Be Seen in Daylight. Now, depending on how I want to use the story, I may start in different ways. So if I'm telling the stories with my learners, I'll tell the story first of all. I might record myself, and then I'll introduce whatever it is that we want to talk about, the grammar aspect, and then I'll have them listen to the story again and try to identify the grammar aspect. If I was using it in a teacher training, I would tell them to be on the lookout for things that we can teach using the story. In my culture, we start with story. So I say story, and then you answer story and get me the mood. Story.
Story.
Once upon a time, in the land of the animals, all the animals were friends. They did things together and they helped each other. One day, the big bat, big for a bat, but small as bats normally are, wanted to visit his father-in-law, and he had a lot of luggage. So he decided to get help carrying the luggage, and he went to the kind sheep. The kind sheep had 7 lambs, and as is with the African culture, we help each other. Our children know that they should help the elders. So the bat said to the sheep, "Dear sheep, could you spare me one of your lambs to help me carry my luggage? I have a long day's walk ahead before I get to my father-in-law's house, and I cannot carry all of this on my own. I have small hands, but sheep are built sturdy with wide backs. Would you be so kind as to let one of your children go with me?" Now, the mother sheep wasn't so sure. She loved her children dearly, and she knew it was a long walk, a whole day's journey. The child wouldn't be back for several days. She started to refuse, but the first of the lambs came up and said, Mother, please, 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 please let me go. I want to go on an adventure. I've never been away from our village. I want to go, please. So the sheep said, no problem, you can go. The bat was really excited and he said, thank you very much. And he put some of his luggage on the little lamb's back or the big lamb's back. And he also gave him a beautiful water horn to carry. Now he told him, be careful with my water horn. You know that we need water on our journey. So the water horn is just the horn that was used to carry water. Now, when they were going on the journey, it was really not easy, but the young sheep, the lamb, was happy to see all the sights, and he looked and he gazed and he was excited. When they got halfway, there was a bamboo thicket, and the bat said, young lamb, please place the water horn under this bamboo thicket so that the water can stay cool as we go on our journey. Later on, you come back to get it for me. And the lamb said, no problem. And he placed the water horn under the bamboo thicket and they went on their journey. A long while passed and they finally got to the father-in-law's place. And his in-laws were very pleased to see him. He shared the gifts he brought and they settled down to make him dinner. So when dinner was almost ready, he asked the little lamb to go back to the bamboo thicket and get the water horn. And the lamb went on his way. But before the lamb came back, the bat did something quite mean. He ate up all of the food. And when the lamb came back, he said, oh, thank you for bringing my water horn. And he gulped down the water. So sorry the food is finished. The lamb was so sad. Now, lamb, I filled this up with water. Take it back to the bamboo thicket. The lamb was disappointed, tired, and hungry. But he did as he was told because we normally do what our elders tell us to. And all he had to eat were some little scraps of grass growing around. When it was nighttime, they went to bed. And the next day, the bat repeated the same thing. The third day, the bat repeated the same thing. Whenever it was time for food, he would send the lamb off to get the water horn. And before the lamb came back, he would eat up all the food. What a greedy bat. Now, on the fourth day, they went back to their village. And the lamb was so bitter. And he told his mom all that transpired. The mom was really upset because she loved her lambs. And she saw that he had grown so skinny and she was just so upset and was trying to get away to take revenge on the bat. She really didn't know what she could do. But then she went to consult someone who we all know is wise, sometimes cunning, but always has good ideas. Yes, the tortoise. So she went to the tortoise and told him what happened and asked for his help. And the tortoise said, no problem, Madam Sheep. I will take care of this. Now, a while later, the bat came back again that he wanted to visit his father-in-law, that would the sheep give him one of the lambs to go with him. This time around, the tortoise was close by, and the tortoise said, oh, you want to see your father-in-law? Leave these little lambs, they're so tiny. I will carry your load for you. I'm going toward that direction anyway. So he loaded the stuff on the tortoise's back and gave him the water horn. They went on their way, and when they got to the bamboo thicket, he told the tortoise to put the water horn under the bamboo thicket. And the tortoise did that. He brought out the water horn and placed it there. And while the bat continued on his journey, he turned back and snuck the water horn into his bag. So they went all the way to the father-in-law's house. And when it was time for food, he asked the tortoise to go back to the thicket to get the water horn. But the tortoise had kept it in the bag just by the house. So the tortoise just crept up, and before he could say, Bob's your uncle, whatever it is you want to say, he was back with the water horn. The bat was so shocked. You're back so soon? He said, yes, I'm back so soon. Oh, I see it's time for food. The bat was angry and he refused to eat. You didn't take my water horn to the thicket. The water's not going to be cool. I'm not eating anymore. Well, the tortoise didn't mind and he ate the food. And that happened on the second day. The same thing happened on the third day. Now, on the night of the third day, the bat had become really quite hungry. So he went to his mother-in-law and said, Mother-in-law, please, I want to go to sleep now, but I'm very hungry. That tortoise hasn't allowed me to enjoy my food. You know I like to eat alone. When I'm asleep, prepare some food and bring it to my bedside so that I may eat. Unknown to them, the wise tortoise was eavesdropping and he heard what they said. So when the bat went to sleep, the tortoise crept into the bat's room and picked up the bat ever so gently and exchanged rooms with him. So when the mother-in-law brought the food, the tortoise ate up all the food and put the plate outside the door. But it didn't end there. He picked up the bat again and put him back. And then he took some of the leftover palm oil from the beautiful, delicious soup and rubbed it on the bat's lips and mouth. The next morning, the bat woke up hungrier than ever before. And he was so upset, he stormed to his mother-in-law. Mama, but I asked you to cook me some food. I didn't see any food. Mother-in-law was equally shocked. What? I gave you your food and I saw the empty plates. You ate them. They started a big argument. And the mother-in-law was so upset, she had to call on some other people to help her sort the problem. She was thinking that her son-in-law was so ungrateful. Now, when other people came to sort the problem, they listened to her side, they listened to the bat side, and the bat said, I think it's tortoise who ate the food. He's the one to blame. He's not allowed me to eat for days. And then the tortoise said, well, I think the only way we can solve this problem is that each of us should rinse our mouths out into a basin. And whoever has water that has oil in it, then you know that that's the person that ate the food. And of course, the wise tortoise had cleaned out his own mouth with a toothpick before then. But people thought it was a beautiful idea, and they all agreed. So, first of all, the tortoise got his own water and spat it out, and they looked at it really clear and clean. And the bat took his own water, gargled it, and spat it out, and there was palm oil floating on top of the water. Everybody gasped. What an ungrateful bat! Your mother-in-law gave you food, you ate it, and you dare deny? And everybody started to crowd on the bat and really make fun of him and tell him how mean he was. And he felt so embarrassed and so disgraced, he snuck off. And since then, he never ever came out during the daytime and started coming out only at night to look for his food.
Thank you very much to Rasheedat and to Geraldine for telling us these two wonderful stories. And thanks to you for listening to a cornucopia of Tales and Tellers. We'll see you next time. Bye!